When I started my journey, I just think the same way pretty much everyone does when they watch this type of content. So it's like, I mean, if everyone is working their entire lives, how can it be there's people manage to get out in 5 to 10 years? You think it's not possible, and it doesn't make sense in your head. But this is because we are born into this reality. But this was not the reality that was happening years ago. You don't have people coming after they pass away to tell you, you know, at your age, I could buy a house by the price of 10 euros. No one is coming from the dead to tell you this. Because if they did, maybe you would think about it. Maybe you would think, what is going on? How is this possible? How could someone buy a house on a price of 10 euros and today is so expensive? We think this money system is the reality in which we have and is supposed to be like right, but in fact it's the system that is wrong. Money keeps going down in value and you don't see it because the way you see it is by measuring against what you want to buy. And if you do this, you see everything going up in price over time. Everything's getting more expensive because money is going down in value. This is why. And the fact you were born into this reality and you raise yourself into this system, it's complicated to understand this is a system that is wrong. But if you invest your money, you're essentially using your wealth in the system that actually is right. Or at least you pick the system for you. You have a choice. Money in investments go up. Money in your bank account or at your house goes down. It's how it is. And this is happening since the past century. It's nothing new. But the problem is, this is just getting worse over time. And it's becoming unsustainable from the current generations moving forward to actually live a good life like the previous generations were able to. So it's a game that is getting harder if you keep storing your money as cash. But actually it's getting easier if you store as investments. Because you change the flow. You won't have your wealth in a flow that is going against you. You will have your wealth in a flow that moves forward. And you'll be moving on the direction that you want without you even having to work. That's why you can see people with so much money. They don't have to work. It's really obvious. In fact, a lot of them don't work. You may not be aware because you're not watching them. But if you search, go search on YouTube. How many people are actually living life in a lifestyle way that you would say, well, it's not possible for them to be working 9 to 5 if they're doing this. So it's because they're not, you know. At the end of the day, there's a way out. And we think before we start to invest, we think there must be something there. There must be something off that we are overlooking. And people try to really get a good understanding around how investments work. And because it's complex, they never change the system. They never go into investments. But let me tell you one thing: you are storing money in your bank account since you are born, since you have money. And no one told you how money works either. In fact, no one tells you. No one's coming to you and saying, this is money, you shouldn't store it because its value keeps going down. Be aware of that. So, while people are worried to understand how investments actually work, they forget they don't even understand how the money system works in the first place. So you have a false sense of security. You think you're safe in a system that is just burning from the inside. Everything there is just burning, is disappearing. But because you're used to this system, you're comfortable with this situation, you think it's the way it's supposed to be. But then you go and check rich people, they don't even use cash. They don't pay in cash. They get loans from banks to pay what they need to pay. You have the owners of companies, they're selling their shares to pay taxes. Why is that? Right? Why don't they use cash? What about, wait, maybe that's why they're so rich. Because they don't use cash. And maybe that's why I'm so poor. Because I use it. You know, it's not about how much money you make. There's so many people, they're not even getting paychecks. You know, I started a company recently. So far, I didn't see any money. So, if I didn't see any money from the company, how do I make money? That's what people ask. If Elon doesn't have any paycheck, how does he make money? He makes money because his money is stored as investments. He has Tesla shares and they go up in value over time. So his wealth is stored there. He has that. He has a house. In fact, when Tesla was about to go bankrupt. He was renting a house. He even had to go to a friend's place because he was all in his cash, all he had at the time on Tesla to actually allow Tesla to survive, to not go bankrupt. Of course, that today doesn't need cash, has so much shares, represents so much money. Anytime he needs cash, the bank will give it to him. That's why I don't use cash at all. But he's not the only one. Everyone does the same. You know, we tend to attach ourselves to cash. We tend to have this false sense of security by having a high number on our bank account. The problem is that that behavior is wrong. Since the beginning, you allow the number to grow in your bank account. So, if you were able to learn this early enough, you would never have this feeling. This is why the kids from the rich people know how to manage wealth. They get taught. They know cash is just for you to pay. And then what you hold is your investments. Can be shares of companies, can be properties, any investment. This is not about the right investment because investments tend to go up over time. So people don't have to overthink about where to put their money. As long as it's not an awful company, the money should go up. In fact, I can tell you, on the bull run, I was watching companies going up that, as far as I was watching their balance sheets and their reports, made no sense for people to invest because the company was not growing at all, was just flat getting cash, and yet their price was going up. So even companies that weren't supposed to go up in value, they go. But again, it's a long-term game. You invest to make money in years. You don't invest to make money in months. No one buys a house to sell at a profit in months. Why are people considering to do this on investments on companies? The principle is the same. The problem is lack of information doesn't allow you to fully understand. That's why the best thing for people, which is the easiest path for everyone to start to invest, is to use investment funds. Most people in Europe, I speak with a lot of people from different places. And almost every country that I got to know people from, they invest through investment funds or they buy shares in ETFs, which is groups of companies in some specific sectors of the market. You can just buy those ETFs and hold those as time goes by instead of just buying shares on a single company. It's up to you how you want to do it. But if you're allowing the banks to invest your money, to allow them to make money for themselves, and they don't even give you anything in return, why wouldn't you be putting your money on an investment fund instead? They will invest your money the same way the banks do, but investment funds give you the profits of the returns in your investments. It's a no brainer. You know, it seems like I'm trying to convince people. I'm not. If people want to keep the lives they want the same way, they can. But at least look into the difference in outcome you can get if you actually change your behavior. You can set yourself free, but only yourself can do that for you. No one else can.